Hello and welcome back to the Bargain Bin podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jack.
Of course, we have the delay as Jack is living in America now. He's left us. He's joined the bad guys.
What do you mean the bad guys?
They threw our tea in the Boston River.
You can't still be having a grudge over that.
Yeah, we can. Anyway, this week,
There goes
as
the American
always,
listeners.
we're going to be looking at some 50p DVDs we picked up, playing a game, and having a discussion about some stuff we've watched over the past 2 weeks since we've been away.
We've been off. Sorry about that. Me and Nick have been busy. Jack, not so much.
Yeah, Jack was on spring break, so it was like, let's record loads. And me and Adam had to make films and do production stuff.
Yeah, great films. One about
films.
Jesus Christ, the other one about
A sneezing
the sneezing
lady.
girl.
Anyway, the films we watched this week were Little Miss Sunshine and A History of Violence. So let's dive straight in with Little Miss Sunshine. Adam, take it away.
Sploosh. Get it? Dive in? No, okay. We've been off for 2 weeks. I've run out of jokes. So Little Miss Sunshine, as a quick recap of this thing, it follows a semi-dysfunctional family, I guess you could say, as they travel from one part of America to the other. Can't quite remember the state. Albuquerque to LA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere in California.
As they're taking the youngest daughter of the family to a Little Miss Sunshine, which is a beauty pageant, which is something really weird about America. Jack, have you experienced any beauty pageants where you're out there? Have you been enrolled in any?
No, it's not really my thing, to be honest. I also find it extremely weird.
Yeah, so do I.
That was a big talking point when we were watching the film. Was just kind of it's weird that it's quite a big thing in America that they still do this whole. Here's some kids.
It was like
watch
the
them
whole
dance.
thing all along. It's like this fun family road trip with some dramatic moments, seeing how the family interact with each other and like come together. And then like the last third of it is at this beauty pageant, and the whole way through I was just like, oh. There's things I watch in film which are bad, but I can sit and watch it because it's not realistic. But the thing that made it bad is because this is like a real thing that happens, and I just don't like it.
I think that's kind of the point of it as well. I think you're supposed to feel weirded out by it and a bit put off. Kind of like how overly smiley the beauty pageant presenter is. He's like really animatronic, very plastic, very big grins, and you're supposed to go, oh, I don't feel okay with this.
He reminded me of the presenter in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I get that. This film has got a great cast.
Such
the
a
dad, played by Greg Kinnear, of Stuck on You fame, which we've reviewed before.
It is Greg Kinnear.
Toni Collette, who we spoke about last week or the week before. She was in Hereditary. It's pretty good. Steve Carell plays like the uncle character. Steve Carell of The Office, US fame. Michael
40-year-old
Scott.
virgin.
We love him.
Love him so much.
And Paul Dano played the kid. Paul Dano always plays kind of weird or mentally ill characters, like every role he takes.
Has he been typecast?
Which is kind of interesting. No, I read somewhere that it's a thing he does because he's had problems or issues with that in himself or his family in the past. So he chooses those roles in order to get a good representation across and to be a good actor. So
that's good.
he like always goes for those roles. And I like Paul Dano. He's great in Prisoners. If you haven't seen Prisoners, you should watch Prisoners. That's bloody great. Denis Villeneuve, one of his films, and he's so good. All his films look amazing. And Prisoners is so like bleak and just looks like cold and dark, but it at the same time looks great.
It's the complete opposite of this film, which is all colourful and fun.
Yeah.
And Wes Anderson colour palette of just bright yellow.
Kind of the bright yellows, yeah.
Every shot's got a really bright, prominent colour somewhere in it. Like in the minivan scenes, there's always, I think, like the yellow sofa or the red shirt. There's something that pops in the background, which I really. So yeah, back to roughly what's happening with the film. They're just travelling across America in this broken, kind of damaged VW camper van.
Yeah, like an old school camper van.
It's mainly the whole thing does focus on them in the car, a majority of the film, of them getting from one place to the other, and the interactions within the car and the character development between all the characters, and for five characters in total.
Six, because the granddad's there as well.
And the granddad, yeah. They all have this really nice bond at the beginning. There's such a distance between them. But as they develop, there's always these like lovely little moments of, where they change almost their entire character just to be more almost human and interact with each other. There's a really beautiful bit where the whole way through the film, the dad character, played by
Greg Kinnear,
is kind of this self-help kind of guy. Is that what he's trying to sell, like a book?
He's like trying to sell some kind of self-help like almost like a pyramid scheme
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Like a 9 steps to happiness, success. That was it. And you learn throughout the film that he's trying to get a book deal with Bryan Cranston, not actual Bryan Cranston, but the actor Bryan Cranston playing a character. And for some reason that just falls through, and it kind of breaks him as a character. His whole life is defined by him trying to be successful via this program of selling the book and becoming almost famous but rich and stuff from that. And the deal falls through about a quarter of the way, near the middle-ish.
Probably the middle.
And it's a really beautiful bit where he gets back in the car, the father, and driving down, and his whole world's been broken, but he's still going to drive his daughter across America to do this beauty pageant that he doesn't quite understand and stuff. And his father, who's been quite distant to all the characters, I think, throughout that part of the scene, just climbs over all the seats and kind of like pats him on the shoulder and is like finally honest with him, like, I'm very proud of you. And those moments like that, which are really touching, are just scattered with all the characters doing little things with each other throughout the entire film. And I think it's really beautiful and really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I liked the little touching moments. I feel like it's one of those small-scale films that makes everything feel big in terms of emotion. Like, they really dive into the characters. I went in expecting Steve Carell to be the main character and it to all be about him. But it really wasn't. It was about the family unit as a whole. And Steve Carell, he was involved, but not involved as much you would think he would be
he
for
is
his
quite
name.
distant in that. But he does not carry the weight of the film, but there are bits where his character
like
development pushes people.
At the beginning, he's like the view of the family, because he's the distant uncle that joins the family. And you kind of see the family through his eyes at the beginning, but then that kind of dwindles off as he becomes part of the family, and then you're kind of just viewing it.
I thought Steve Carell was really, really good in it, and I really liked that, like, he played more of a serious role, because I've only ever seen him, apart from, like, moments in The Office where he's more serious, I've only ever seen him in, like, kind of comedic roles, and I really liked the fact that he was in a pretty serious role. His character, goes through some stuff, and it's, I don't know. He was just really, really good in that, and just I really want to highlight the heartwarming aspect of it, because there are some really heartwarming moments throughout it that made me tear up a little, because it's just, I don't know. I really, really like this film.
I've got to admit, there are moments where you're just like, at the beginning it's quite like a bleak starting off point. I was really like, I thought this was going to be like a feel-good film. Usually with those you kind of have a vague starting point and a happy place, so it goes down and back up. But it is, at the beginning, it's like,
it's pretty bleak.
Steve Carell's character just tried to kill himself. Well, you don't see that, but you see the aftermath of that.
He's a suicide survivor, and so has to move in with the family.
I didn't expect that at all. Like, I know of this film. I knew there was one scene in it which I knew, which I'll get to in a second. But I had no idea of Steve Carell's character. And like you said, Jack, him playing something serious is quite rare, I think. I think most people lean to him doing comedy.
In recent years, he's been doing a lot of serious stuff. Like, since The Office ended, he's pretty much just been doing serious stuff.
And I'm glad that, because you can tell in The Office that it's like he loves doing it, but you can tell that there is, when he does the serious moments, or
it's good.
He's got it. It's like, I want to see more of it. And I'm glad that you picked a film where I can see that finally, because I didn't see the new film he made, Living with Melvin.
Escape from Marwen.
That's Skyrim.
No, Marwen. Marwen. Something about Marwen, where Steve Carell's like a CGI doll. Apparently it's absolutely awful, and you should watch the documentary about the guy it's based on instead, because that's fantastic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, about the actual guy who like got attacked and then relived his life through dolls and collected them.
Oh, yeah, I remember this film. Yeah.
Apparently,
yeah, it's Welcome to Marwen.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Welcome to Marwen.
But yeah,
it made no money. And Robert Zemeckis was the director.
Oh, I love Robert Zemeckis. Who was your favourite character in Little Miss Sunshine, Nick?
I really like the granddad.
He's really funny.
He was funny, cool dude. I want to be like him when I'm older.
Not
shooting up heroin.
Yeah, I was going to say
but
that.
Just being like an awesome old man.
Kind of cool, doesn't care what people think.
Yeah, grumpy old man who doesn't give a bleep.
Yeah. Jack, what about you?
I really liked Paul Dano's character, because I really liked that he just you see on like the chart at the beginning, like how many days he like hasn't spoken, because that's like his thing, because he refuses to speak until he gets into like the Air Force, and just kind of seeing him just, I don't know, like not speak, because he, as well as wanting to get to this goal, he also just doesn't see the point of arguing with his family, which I can like tell from experience is like a thing sometimes, where you're just like, okay, there's no point even like trying to argue, because you're just not going to get anywhere, so you just kind of give up. And so I feel like that's a kind of an emphasis of that kind of feeling that you sometimes get in families. And when he like has a breakdown that I won't spoil, like near to the end, it's just, you feel so much for him, because throughout the film he's been working towards this one goal, and when like that goal is taken away from him, he's just, I don't know, it was just really sad, and I really like that.
I've got to give him credit, because if you are in a film where up until about halfway through, near to 3/4 of the film, you don't speak, that is a hard sell. And especially you got this all facial stuff, it's you writing down what you're saying, and he's delivering that. And there's timing, there's emotion behind it. It's not, some of it's funny, and it's like, oh, I get it.
He's great. I like Paul Dano.
He's so good in it.
I mentioned Prisoners. Have you seen Swiss Army Man?
Oh,
I have.
Swiss Army Man is so bizarre and weird, but Paul Dano
that is genuinely
great.
one of the weirdest films I've ever seen, and everything that just happens in it just.
I've seen
it's so very, very
I'm
weird.
still not sure I understand
it. Radcliffe's great in it, though.
There's a good like how to whatever the horror guy who explains it. I was like, this is so weird. How are you supposed to understand this?
Yeah,
someone,
you don't understand it.
It's like a Soviet propaganda film. You don't get it until someone sits down and gives you a lecture on it. It's good though.
But yeah, Paul Dano. I like Paul Dano. Do more stuff, Paul Dano.
Oh, can I interject with a fun fact quickly?
Oh, of course you can. Choose my role.
I don't know whether you even need to include, but I just thought it's a fun fact. So Paul Dano is actually married to a woman called Zoe Kazan, which I had never heard of before. But the day before I watched Little Miss Sunshine, I watched a film called The Monster, which wasn't very good, but she's the main character in that. So I thought that was a really weird connection. And she's been married to him since 2007, which is a really long time.
How old is he?
Paul Dano, this film was made in 2006.
Oh, okay.
But if
he's got one of those baby faces.
Yeah, he has got a baby
like
face. He normally plays quite young. He must be, what, early 30s, mid-30s?
Jack, quick guess.
34.
34. I'm going with 27.
He is...
34.
He is 34.
Okay.
Jack, you looked it up. That's cheating.
And cheaters never win, Jack.
Beauty pageants.
So weird. What's going on, America? This is where we address America in
dressing
the
up like little girls in like swimwear and having them like dance and pose. It's just awkward.
It is
and
weird.
Mm.
And like,
I mean, like my face throughout all of it was the same face that I pull whenever there's a rape scene in a film, that I just don't quite know how to react, and I'm just kind of sitting there just letting it play out in like kind of disgust of what's going on.
It's so weird. You should watch, even if you don't watch the show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's an episode where the characters in it make a beauty pageant. And it's like a commentary on the whole beauty pageant system in America and how weird it is. That's a funny episode that takes the mick out of beauty pageants and also has like the subliminal message under it, which a lot of Always Sunny episodes do. That's a good one to watch. Recommend that.
It's so weird. Like, it doesn't translate across the ocean.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a UK equivalent. There's talent competitions, but there's nothing in terms of like the swimwear section, or stuff. I mean, you get that with like, there's no Miss America, Miss UK stuff, is there?
Probably, but it's probably not.
Not as well like ingrained, I guess, into our culture as it is in what we see in the American ones. But it's so bizarre. Who were we talking about when it came on? We were trying to remember. Honey Boo
Boo. Yeah, the whole Honey Boo Boo reality thing.
It is weird because it's never the kids. It's always the parents.
The parents are the weird ones.
That you always like, oh, you've had an unfulfilled childhood. But luckily, this film's not like that.
No.
It's very much, I guess it's more of like kind of countering the stereotype. It's the little girl kind of wants to do it. It's more like self-empowerment in a way.
Kind of. Because like one of the big plot points is that the little girl is like quite fat as well, quite chubby, And it's like one of those things of overcoming that, like overcoming seeing that as a negative thing and not caring anyway.
I really like that. There's revolving around that idea is the dad character played by
Greg Kinnear
of Stuck on You fame, James Gunn's favourite twin film. Brought it back.
I was going to save that for the news section.
Oh no, well, it's his news as well. He's got every part to be in this show. So his soul stick of self-help stuff is kind of also for him as well. He's very much like, if you're not winning, you're losing kind of American-esque self-helpy thing. And it's really pushed on his daughter. So there's a real big scene when they go to like a typical American diner. And they're all ordering breakfast stuff. And she orders like waffles and ice cream.
Yeah.
And there's this, it's really quite in your face and quite like, not cringy, but like, oh, is this happening?
Yeah.
Where he's like really pushy about like, oh, you want to be like those models. Those models are really thin. And if you eat ice cream, you'll be fat. And you're like, oh. I was really worried that that's where the film was going to stop. But then there's this nice like twist on that where the whole family kind of goes, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
We're going to have
like,
this fun.
Ignores the dad and lets her eat the ice cream.
And they're like Steve Carell's character and the son, Paul Dano, and
Tony Collette.
Tony Collette, thank you. They all start like going, oh, I'll have a bit of ice cream. Oh, this ice cream's great. And it's kind of this nice kind of, you don't need to be over pushy and over like self-helpy.
Like, she's a kid, man.
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
And I'm really glad that that's included in the film. And it also like, it changes a lot of the characters at that point. I think that's when like Steve Carell comes a little bit more open. And the granddad is a lot more like, oh, I'm not going to be this weird, aloof kind of.
Well, the granddad's always like has the soft spot for the daughter, and the daughter's the one he connects to, and he's kind of like rude and doesn't care about anyone else. And it kind of stays that way, except that one moment where he like pats the dad on the shoulder.
I think he lightens a little bit to Steve Carell's character when they're at.
He does when he goes and asks him to buy dirty magazines for him.
Oh, now girl fat. I feel like that's a bit of a lighter moment between the two.
Yeah,
because at the early on in the film, it was almost like he's a quitter. He kind of like how the dad was, where it was just like, you know, he gave up, and it's like kind of down.
Yeah, he was being homophobic towards him.
But by that point, I don't know, something's changed, and they're a bit more. They're not close, but they're more.
They're just open to each other.
More open to each other, which I liked. And so I like that about this film. There's a lot of these kind of messages of like, you know, your own path, you do what makes you happy, kind of thing, which I like, especially when you're dealing with beauty pageants, which is a very kind of pushy subject.
Yeah.
So I think they handle that really well, and it's just a really good like heartfelt bit in the film, even when there is quite a sad moment, that it's carried with not a joke, which is like, haha, it's like, oh, this is silly, and like, oh, yeah. It's kind of in the spirit of this. It's not like, ha, laugh at this, it's funny. It's like, oh, this is silly fun.
Yeah, Little Miss Sunshine.
Love it.
Also, quick fact as well. The little girl in it is both the little girl in Zombieland and Signs, which I didn't know.
Oh, I love Zombieland.
Zombieland's great.
Making a sequel.
Yeah,
they are.
And that was like 3 years later, and she looks like double the age.
Yeah, but it's also like, is that 3 years later in terms of production as well? Because, you know, as you go through production. Have you seen like, I know you probably don't care, the kid that's in the Shazam movie who's playing Billy Batterson, who's the little kid, when they filmed it, he's quite short against Zachary Levi, who's fairly tall. I think he's like 6'2". And they're doing the press tours now.
And he's shot up.
Yeah. He's like up to his shoulder, and they're like, how are you going to do a sequel now? Because now they're growing to the same height. But kids, you know, at that age,
kids grow. But it's the thing that happens.
But continuing off that thing of she's in other films, really excited for Zombieland 2. I don't know why. I just like the whole kind of spoof.
I mean, yeah.
It's not a serious zombie film, which every zombie film is.
They're getting Woody Harrelson back, aren't they?
They're getting all the
everyone's
cast.
Back apart from Bill Murray, who is dead.
He's dead. I wish Bill Murray was back.
He could come back.
Came back as an actual zombie.
I think that'd be quite funny.
They 100% need to do that as a reference to the first. If they don't, I'll be so disappointed.
He comes back as a zombie, but is still Bill Murray. Just like he hasn't turned. He's like, oh, I can't die now. Just, I regret. That's my favorite line. Any regrets? Garfield. But yeah, I like how they're also going to do it's 15 years later, which is like a trend now in a lot of films where they're just doing the time gap is the actual time gap.
I mean, yeah, it is 15 years later, pretty much.
Yeah, but they're not going to try and like, oh, it's like 2 years later, and they're just, I like that. I like how it's 15 years, they're all older, Jesse Eisenberg's still going to be that kind of
Weirdo guy.
But I don't know the name of it. I think something about Twinkies might be in the last Twinkie on Earth or something might be the tagline.
Twinkies, America's most delicious snack. Jack sent over a couple of boxes of Twinkies to England for my birthday because I'd never tried them. The first bite was okay, and after that they're very horrid and sickly and chemically.
Yeah,
they're
really sickly.
Such a weird flashback because I guess Egypt, where I go on holiday a lot.
Adam's half Egyptian. Adam Jamie Mahmoud Mohammed Ishmael Dokhan is his full name if you want to search him up and do some credit for fraud.
Yeah, all you need is the full name for that.
Yeah.
We go there a lot, and I guess a lot of American stuff gets imported over UK stuff. So I've had Twinkies before, but not the yellow ones. I've had the chocolate ones, and I took one bite out of the ones at Jackson. I went like this horrible flashback of like a dolly pan in, and this is like when I was like 7, having like Sprite and these chocolate because it's the vague thing I could like taste. It was like, oh, this tastes, not Egyptian, and I was like, oh god, I felt sick instantly. It was just like, ugh. Not a big fan of the Twinkie. Sorry, America.
Get some good. Get Cadbury's
some real
over there.
chocolate over there. Real milk. That's what they don't use. They use
Reese's peanut butter things. What's that? And Hershey's.
Oh, Hershey's taste like vomit.
Just get Cadbury's.
They have Cadbury's, but they bought.
I don't think they have Cadbury's. No, I have not seen a Cadbury's.
No, they haven't got it. But
have they just bought out Hershey's, then continued to produce Hershey's the exact same?
Yeah, they've bought So there was a big palaver where a US company did buy Cadbury's, the early 2010s-ish, that kind of era, and everyone was complaining that the chocolate was going to taste different. But they didn't change it over here. There's still some of it's produced here, so it still uses our how we make chocolate thing.
Yeah.
But the ones in America where they rebranded, they've just like gone to how they make Hershey's, which is with I think it's actual milk powder. They don't use milk, so that's why it doesn't go off so quickly. That's why it tastes like vomit.
America, you're trash.
We're taking it back.
Anyway, Little Miss Sunshine. Think we all enjoyed it.
I loved it.
We all loved it.
Honestly, loved it. I feel like it's going to become one of these
heartwarming romp.
Maybe one of these like comfort films for me. I think whenever I'm like, oh, I want something that's going to make me feel happy, I might watch Little Miss Sunshine. Even though it's sad bits.
You know what time it is? It's time for our patented bargain bin rating system.
Yeah, we got it patented now. 2 weeks off, and they gave us the patent.
So, Jack Goodman of the Bargain Bin podcast. How many out of 10? How many beauty pageant contestants would you give this film?
I give this film 9 overly smiley and creepy beauty pageant contestants out of 10.
Adam Dokhan of the Bargain Bin podcast.
And of the hit film Bless You.
How many broken yellow camper vans out of 10 would you give this film?
I would give this 8.9 broken yellow camper vans out of 10.
Thank you, Adam.
Nick Harris, how many eye tests out of a possible 15 would you give this film?
Sorry, out of 15? The Bargain Bin does scores out of 10, Adam.
Oh, I had to change some of it when we do eye tests. Cinescope own the eye test rating systems. It's really weird. Also, Cinescope, come at us.
Okay, out of 15 eye tests, I would give this film a solid 13.5.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
Great film. Yay.
That was Little Miss Sunshine. Jack, it's that time. Quick, make a movie. Jingle.
Now.
Quick, make a movie. Quick, make a movie. Quick, make that movie.
Okay, if you don't know what Quick Make a Movie is, me and Jack are both going to say a character, a film, a TV show, a location, anything. We're going to say one each, and Adam has to combine those into a film and give us a 1-minute elevator pitch. He has 10 seconds to think after we've said our words. So, Jack, have you got a word?
Yes.
John Wick.
Agent 47.
Yes!
Oh my God, give him an easy one. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was my one.
Let's make that a bit more difficult.
Okay, we'll give you a genre.
Give us a... Because I think a lot of these have been like, you just add a character to a film. So I think if we go... If there's 3 of us, and you're going to pick it for me, I'll pick a genre, you pick a character, and we'll just swap that around or something. But for this week, you pick a genre as
I'll
well,
pick a genre. Spy threat... No.
Yes.
I'm going to pick like a sports drama.
Oh, like Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Rush or something.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, sports includes like
Yeah.
F1 and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Tiger Woods biopic. You have 10 seconds to think. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Picture this, right? We start on a beach. Big LA beach. Big, wide LA beach. You can hear the waves crashing in, right? And suddenly, out from the water, kind of like that scene in Casino Royale, a completely hairless, bald white man in really tight red Speedos comes out, slowly walking. You see a little barcode on the back of his head. It's Agent 47. He's coming out. You think, oh, who's he going to kill? You see, on the other side of the beach, slowly walking a man in a nice, tight black suit with a big beard. And they're slowly walking together. Go, oh, what's going on here? Slowly, Keanu Reeves, as John Wick, takes off his shirt, throws it on the side, rips off his trousers like in Magic Mike, those split ones down the middle. Again, tight, but blue Speedos. You think, what's going on here? This is weird. Suddenly, they meet eye to eye on the sand. They're looking at each other. You think, oh, this is weird. Are they going to throttle each other? They're going to strangle each other? Punch, zoom out. They're in the middle of a volleyball court. It's beach volleyball. The two of them are head-to-head in opposite rival teams of assassins from around the world fighting each other for the goal of Ultimate Assassin Volleyball Beach LA Supreme Winner Trophy. And and it's just a fight between the two of them, and they're all like using their agent moves to kind of hit the ball back and stuff. Like the ball is whacked over the top by Agent 47, and suddenly Keanu Reeves dives under it and does like a judo roll and smacks it back the other way. Agent 47 picks up a guy and whacks the ball back with him. And it's just a fight between the two of them, this weird, slightly homoerotic.
Dresses up as another player.
Yeah. And then they're just batting the ball together. And it's like the final point. Agent 47 smacks it, but misses completely. And it flies off. It flings into the distance. It's hurtling towards one of the spectators. You think, oh no, is this poor girl, just having fun at the beach, going to get whacked in the face by a volleyball? You think, oh no, this is the end for her. Because it's Agent 47, that's a big hit. That could kill someone. Suddenly, John Wick turns. He sees it happening. He starts running, David Hasselhoff like in slow motion, and just stabs the volleyball with a pencil and pops it right before it hits her.
And is that the end?
Yeah.
Great.
It ends.
Great. I don't know.
You tell me that is the most unique one we've had.
Yeah.
I liked it.
They're both crowned like joint winners, and it's like a feel-good movie.
Okay. Okay. Jack, exit jingle. Quick.
This is, what's it called?
Quick, Jack.
Make a movie? Okay. I forgot what the thing was called. That was Quick Make a Movie. Enjoy for next time. Ta-da.
I thought that was quite good. Well, that was our patented game. It's probably the best game on student radio. If you like it, tell us about it. It's thebargainbin@gmail.com. I don't think that's actually the email address. I think I've been saying it wrong, but just aim for that.
We'll put it on Twitter at
some point. Yeah, be on
point.
Twitter. Follow at the Brayford Radio.
At Brayford Radio.
Or Phantom Cheese C, which is mine. I post a lot of stuff for the show on that. I'll probably make a show Twitter account at some point.
At some point we will, if we ever get round to it.
I'll get round to it. I think someone else has already got the bargain bin, so I have to call it something weird and wacky.
The Bargain Bin Boys.
With a Z or something.
The Rent Boys.
Rent Boys, which was the original name for this show.
The original name for this show was the Rent Boys, as in renting DVDs, but we weren't allowed because it's not PG enough.
If we don't explain
what
the joke is, we're allowed to say it on radio. I think that's basically what Ben's told me about the jokes we use.
All right, that's fine.
So yeah, Rent Boys, really funny. But
Velma. Can't explain that.
Can't explain that one either. Well, we can do. It just doesn't go on the podcast version. But I don't want to put it on the uncut version because we've got dignity.
Yeah. Well,
if you find us in the street and you see Nick, look him dead in the eye, shout Velma, and when he stops crying with laughter, he'll tell you what that means.
I'll tell you what Velma means if you ever meet me.
And you'll know when you meet him.
Speaking of meeting, we're doing a fan meet-up.
Oh my God.
We're not.
We're going to America.
No.
We're not.
Oh, here's a possibility. I'm going to chuck this one in here. Might go to Finland.
Might go to Finland.
So yeah. Cinescope. Come fight us. Anyway, on to our second film of the show. We watched The History of Violence. And Jack's now going to read his dissertation on the history of violence like he does every week. So take it away, Jack.
Okay, so History of Violence, it's directed by David Cronenberg, so I expected really good things from this because I really like The Fly, and in fairness, that's the only other film I've seen of his, but he's like a well-renowned director, so I was expecting good things, and I really didn't like this film.
Is that the one with Jeff Goldblum?
So it's about this like family guy who is stalked by these mobsters after like killing two like robbers who try to like rob his restaurant, and because of it, he gets featured on TV, and they come and stalk him because they think that they know him from like the old days back, back 20 years ago or whatever. It's a fairly intriguing premise, and it keeps you kind of guessing. But the main thing I just hated about this film was the acting and the writing. The acting is awful. There's a child actor in it, and you don't want to like riff on the child actors too much, but at the same time, like this child actor I think is the worst child actor I have ever seen. She was awful, and every time she spoke, it was very, very cringy. The writing is also very, very bad. There's like random scenes that just happen for no reason. Like the main couple will have a fight and then have sex and then just continue fighting again, and it's just like, why was that needed? Like it was just, there are so many bits in it that I think that you could just cut out of this film, and nothing would be would feel missing. Ed Harris is pretty decent as the villain. Like, I mean, he's not bad, but he's not good either. But I mean, at least it was something, And the main guy, Viggo Mortensen, whatever. Okay, I can't. It's Danish.
Aragorn.
He's apparently really, really good in Green Book, and I don't know how, because look. Oh wait, he's in The Road as well. Apparently, he's in The Road as well.
He's the main character in The Road. He's Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. I like Viggo. He's a good guy.
Oh wait, is that him?
Yeah.
Wait, so he can act then? Okay,
Yeah,
he can act, but for some reason in this film, decided now to do it this time because he's not very good in this film. The pace is insanely slow, and I was bored throughout all of it, other than maybe the last 20 minutes was okay. But it takes so long for anything of just any substance to happen, and just anything that you care about. The intro, I guess, is okay as well. It's like an intriguing setup, but apart from that, it's just so many scenes of just nothing.
I like the practical effects. I'm a big fan of practical effects.
They come out of nowhere.
Yes, I was going to say that as well. That was literally the next thing I was going to say.
The title is A History of Violence, and there were some very violent moments in it. It's like it was used really sparingly, but when the violence happened, it happened, and then they showed like the aftermath with like practical effects. And I just think practical effects are really cool, and they were quite gruesome, some of them.
Yeah, practical.
The only thing I'd have to say about them is that I thought the sound effects that went with the violence, so like gunshots, or if he like hit somebody, they were really bad. So the guns would just sound like they were being fired in like an empty room, so it was really tinny. And then if he hit somebody, it sounded like a stock sound effect. But the actual like practical effects themselves were really good, and the cinematography was really good as well.
Yeah, there are some really
cool
cool
shot.
moments. The opening shot, the long take of the car, them getting out of the car, that's really cool. That really set a weird precedent. I was like, oh, this is like, I thought the opening was going to be, we're going to follow these two awful people. I'm like, oh, I hate these films where you just have to watch the bad guys just get away with it.
They're the bad guys.
They're like low-level mob enforcer people, I think. And they go around just doing a bit of killing, and you think, I'm going to follow these people throughout this film, and I'm just going like, they're going to get away with it. I'm not going to enjoy it because I feel bad. And then, they do some killing, and then they end up robbing, like Jack said, this guy's store, and they get deaded by him. And it's weird to feel relieved when you see someone get shot. He's like, oh, thank God I'm not having to follow these people around.
I felt the complete opposite way about it, though, because I thought that it could have been like a really interesting, just watching these guys be terrible all the film, and then eventually, like, at the end, get the comeback, that kind of thing.
It was almost like every quarter of the film there was a new villain.
Yeah.
Because I told Nick, after he had shot the two guys in the diner and done that thing where he glasses someone with a mug of boiling coffee, when you see that really gruesome effect after he gets shot in the head, like you see it pulsing and stuff, the guy gets shot through the door, I thought,
that was really good.
I was like, oh, okay, there's no big bad anymore, because they were set up at the beginning like, here's the bad guys.
Okay, so these are bad guys. Okay, they're dead. I guess someone's going to come and avenge them. And then Ed Harris was the guy that came and avenged them. And you see Ed Harris and you think, okay, this is the main bad guy for the movie. But then you get 2/3 of the way through and he kills Ed Harris. Shot, And then you're like, well, where does it go from now?
It is strange. And it's very loose, because then every third there's a new bad guy, right? And Ed Harris really like, oh, he's going to be the big bad. There's going to be like, I thought this was like almost like a proto John Wick. Like I thought that's where this was going. Where it's like Ed Harris was going to come, kill the family, and then this guy who was, spoiler, was witness protection, changed identity, whatever, was going to come back. Ex-mob going to come back and kill him with a pencil.
You were the craziest guy in the mob, kid. That's what he said at the end to him.
And it isn't. He's just like, the family's fine. He kills Ed Harris. Well, he doesn't kill Ed Harris. His son does.
His son kills
which is
Ed
kind of
Harris.
like a cool twist. I like that.
Son's an awful actor, by the way. He was terrible in the start.
Oh, but didn't you like it
All
when
the
he
acting
basically
in this film was awful.
Spider-Man won the bully?
Yeah.
I was telling Nick all the way through. It was going, we're gonna watch this kid. I liked how at the beginning, like he was not taking anything from the bully and kind of got away with it. I like that because that's like a bit of a subversion on every other American film where it's like, the bully.
The only thing with that is I understand how he didn't like beat him up earlier.
Yeah.
Because he just. It took 2 seconds to put that guy on the floor. Like it took no effort by him. So I feel like he would have done that at some point beforehand. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I did like that come up into it. Was like, we're gonna have one of those scenes where the kid's just gonna get kicked in the stomach over and over, and then the whole school's going, but his dad was this cool action hero, and the kid's rubbish. But no, the kid just kicks a guy in the nads and then repeatedly punches the other one in the ribs over and over again. He's like, ooh, this is quite intense. I like this. Kind of like, bit of a twist, but then the kid comes back round again and just point blank shoots Ed Harrelson with a rifle, and that's kind of like a satisfying-ish moment.
A rifle? It was a shotgun.
Shotgun, sorry. In my head, I was thinking,
blasted
why did
his chest off.
Why do people have shotguns when you can have like rifle-y things? But anyway.
Yeah, I did wonder with the shotgun. Like, I feel like it would have cut him in. But
yeah, he should have shot the dad.
I don't know enough about
also,
guns.
he got shot in like the main character got shot kind of like almost near the heart.
No, it was on the other side.
Was it on the other side?
Yeah.
And he was just like, he just walks that off a little bit.
He's fine.
Yeah. Oh, but there is that. I believe it's that scene where he just stands on someone's neck. Is that scene?
No, that's at the
that's
end.
later scene. But
yeah, because after Ed Harris dies, and you're like, where does this go from now?
it's literally an end. Like it feels like it ends.
He like goes back to his old mob boss, who's like his brother.
He goes back to his brother. Yeah.
Goes back to his brother, and like tries to do a deal with him or something to not get anyone else after him, even though Ed Harris was another mob boss. They weren't connected. And then for some reason, his brother orders people to kill him, and it didn't really make sense.
No, I guess the dialogue he was saying was like the brother, because the main character was so John Wicky and crazy that he killed so many people that it ruined the other brother's chance of becoming the head mafia boss guy.
Yeah, I guess, or like something like, we're gonna kill you so they know we didn't send you after them and we're not involved. Something like that. But he takes out this room of 3 guys, and like one of them he just punches to the floor and then stands on his neck, and the guy's neck like explodes and spits blood everywhere. It's weird. Like, it's really placid, this film, and then there's suddenly like hyper violent, but the hyper violent has no impact. Yeah,
like when people get shot, it's either you get shot and they fall over, or they get shot and they explode. But there's no like in between where everything's what you would expect. Like when he glasses the guy at the beginning with the mug. You don't expect that to do much, and then he gets shot in the head. And you don't expect that, but then you see the prosthetic, and it's awful. Like his nose is coming. But then you see a guy get shot later on, and it's just like a squib going off. There's no consistency, so everything feels really disjointed. It's so weird because it's like almost like a drama, death, drama, death.
I mean, the ending for me was especially weak because you had, as we've said already, each third had a different villain. This villain's introduced, and then 5 minutes later he's dead. And like the whole like finale and climax of the film is just him killing 4 guys in a room, and then like walking out and going back to his family. And it's kind of like, I get what you're going for, but it doesn't really work.
I was expecting another villain. I generally thought in my head this film had only taken like 30 minutes. I was like, okay, we're going to have another go at this with a bigger, like the super boss. But no, nothing happens. He just goes back home.
I just didn't really understand why we needed to see that he went back to his family, because when he's kneeling by the lakeside or whatever, it fades, and then it just comes back, and he's like, oh, yep, he's just come back to his family, and he has dinner and then it ends, and
Well,
it's just
'cause,
like,
the
was
whole
that needed?
the whole thing they were going for is like, this guy's got a violent past.
A history of violence.
Yeah, he's got a history of violence. Can he get over it and be accepted by his family? That's kind of the theme they were going for towards, like, from the halfway point onwards, whether his wife would accept his past or not. But then they showed that at the end to show, like, the acceptance his family has for him, and to show that side of it. They more tried to turn it into like a family drama after this like shootout at a mob boss's house, which was really weird, very out of place, and the pacing was all off.
What I liked, there was when him and his wife are confronting each other about his original identity. Some guy called Joey, who he's actually.
Hey, Joey.
There's a scene where they're talking about, like, you know, are you still Joey, or are you my husband Tommy, or whatever? And he's like, no, I buried him in the desert, which I know is a phrase, but in my head I was like, that's a much more interesting film.
Yeah.
Like, after you've done all the killing and you've been that mob enforcer guy, driving out to the desert and dealing with your conscience and like, no, I'm going to become this other person. I think that's much more interesting than where we picked this film up. Because there's really nothing in this film, because they kill the interesting villains at the beginning. Harrelson is kind of this weird Doctor No.
Harrelson?
Sorry, I'm thinking of Eddie Harrison.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Literally my last name. Come on.
Ed?
Yeah, he's my granddad.
He's like kind of weakish. Like, the villains get progressively weaker. He's like, he's kind of like a Doctor No with the missing eye kind of thing.
Oh yeah, can we talk about his eye? Ed Harris has like a scar all over his eye, and one eye's blinded.
He's got like
and
a
he
Nick
just
Fury
casually
thing.
mentions like, oh, Joey, I'm going to get you. You blinded me with some barbed wire. And I was like, ooh. And he just started picturing trying to blind someone with some barbed wire and how one would go about that. That would have made an interesting scene.
What is interesting about that, and because this film is based off a comic, and on all of the covers for the comics, there is some barbed wire at somewhere in the cover. So I feel like that's a way bigger part of the comic, because like you don't consistently have barbed wire on loads and loads of different like covers of the same comic without it being of some significance.
Maybe he kills the guy at the end with barbed wire.
Maybe. Who knows?
It's weird though. We keep watching accidental comic book movies.
Yeah.
I guess there was a lot more than you ever told that were made into live action films. All these like Vertigo and Image comics, which don't
because
really get
like
major
when people think comic book movies, they think the superhero ones. But comic books are much more wide genre than just superheroes.
Yeah, like Ghost Town, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's never registered. Also, like, it felt like one of these films you see on TV on like ITV3 really late at night, and they just end up being stuck on. Felt very TV movie. Budget.
The thing is, this was very well received. Like, this won awards at like Cannes and that kind of thing, and I really don't understand why.
It's pronounced Cannes.
No, I don't get it at all. It's two like 3 shorts put together, which maybe the comic is like 3 kind of shorts, 1 boss, 2 watch, 3 bosses. But
well, apparently the first half is faithful to the comics, and then the second half isn't.
But yeah, it's not a good film at all. I wanted to like it. I was like, oh, this could be interesting, because History of Violence sounds like a cool title. Sounds like a film that Forrest Whitaker would be in, like this kind of cop thriller thing. No, it's nothing like that.
Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah, in my head, like, kind of cop drama thing. That's what I picture him as. Because he's in a phone booth. But no, this film, not so good. Jack, thoughts?
No, I just didn't like. I don't know. I thought the plot was all over the place. It was very slow. The acting was really bad. The writing was also really bad. But yeah, great practical effects and some nice cinematography, which like saved it to a certain extent. I didn't think it completely saved it out of all the rubbish, because you have to deal with the bad acting, the bad writing for the entire film, whereas the practical effects only are there occasionally, and cinematography again is there for a lot of it, but for the most part you're focusing on what's going on, which is bad. So
I didn't hate it. It's tolerable. It's fine.
There's so much potential, and it's wasted. Maybe like a TV series on this, because you can have the 3. You can have the 3 arcs,
different villains.
But it's missing so much, and there's almost no potential in it at all.
Yeah,
that's the shame. It's like, oh, nah, Not even worth that. All right, Jack. Using our patented rating system, forgot the word there. How many loaded shotguns in a scene would you give this film out of 10?
I'd give this 3 loaded shotguns in a scene out of 10.
Adam, how many barbed wire eyeballs out of 10 would you give this film?
Give us like 4 barbed wire eyeballs. So 2 sets of blind eyeballed villains. Nick Harris of the Bargain Bin Podcast, which you can listen to on Brayford Radio or on YouTube if you want to hear the extended version. How many bullies getting kicked in the gonads out of 10 would you give this film?
3.5, 4.
3.5.
Probably that.
Is that per ball?
Per ball,
Per
yeah.
ball, okay. That works out quite well then, doesn't it? Yeah, that's like 6 or something.
History of violence.
Not good.
Boom, done. You know what time it is now? Let's discuss some random stuff we've watched this week.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We've been off for 2 weeks.
Off. I went to the cinema this week, which I do very rarely because it's very expensive. I watched Us, the new film by Jordan Peele, writer and director.
Half of Key and Peele.
He is half of Key and Peele.
I'm very curious to see what you think of this.
The writer and director of Get Out as well. I was really intrigued with Us when I first saw the trailer, and then I didn't want to hear or see anything else about it. I wanted to go in blind like I did with Get Out. This film is very good, and I liked it. I like it, but at the same time, I'm like, what? I don't really like this, but I also really like it at the same time. It's very weird. I definitely need to watch it again before I have a proper opinion. But yeah, it's a good film, and I did like it overall. But at parts, I was like, "What? I don't get this. I don't like it." But then, for the majority, it was great.
Now, is that in terms of you were confused what was going on, or in terms of it's giving so much, it's like
No, not in terms of in your face or confusion, just like the pace of it and like what's happening within the story. It's like it's not overly confusing. There's like obviously twists in it and everything, but it's not. You don't have to like figure it out or anything, and it's not overly complex. But it's just like the beats of the story. It's so not conventional that it's kind of strange to watch, but it's good. I will say that the music in it was really good. The soundtrack was really good. And also, don't go in expecting like a conventional scary horror. It's more of like one of those slow burn creepy horrors.
Not to get too cinescope on this, but would you say it's not style of substance, but it's closer to? It's so strange and stylistic that it's less narrative.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I'd say it's the same. It's like the narrative is the thing as well as the style. It's not style over substance. It's really hard to describe. I really need to see it again before I form a proper opinion. But soundtrack great. Acting wise, the main actress is Lupita Nyong'o, who was very good. Elizabeth Moss is in it. She's great. Winston Duke is in it. He was great. Acting wise, very good. Story, pretty interesting, pretty good. Nice twist. Creepy, not scary, but creepy throughout. Gave me the heebie-jeebies at bits. Have you seen it, Jack?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen a film over here.
But yeah, I recommend Us.
I do want to watch it. It's weird. I'm not a big fan of horror films, but I give him quite a lot of credit for what he does, because it's not just I really hate jump scares because they get me because I'm pathetic, and I want something that makes you think in a horror film, and I give him a lot of stuff to Get Out, which is really kind of like this is kind of cool. It's weird, and then it goes super weird, but it's still believable. Like he nails that kind of leap in logic.
I don't want to, like, people are saying, is it better than Get Out though? And I don't really want to compare it to Get Out because they are different beasts. But I did like, because Get Out, the whole like reason for making the film and the whole plot revolves around like racism and like black people's rights and stuff, which is really important and I really liked. But I was worried that Jordan Peele was then going to like do that for every one of his films from now on. And when I saw the trailer for Us, I was like, it's fine if he uses this as another example of like how race is important and everything, but I don't want that to become like the one note that all his films are based on. So I was really glad, like, the race isn't even mentioned at all. It just happens to be a black family, which I thought was, it's not good or bad. It's just a thing that I was like, okay, I see. He's not fallen into the trap of making the same point in every film, even though it is a very important point.
He's not Neil Blomkamping it.
No.
It's all about
Not Neil Blomkamp, where every film is apartheid.
Okay, that's good. Again, I do want to give this a watch.
It's apartheid with robots instead of aliens.
And prawns.
That's better, right?
Did a prawn impression there.
Yeah, you didn't see Adam's prawn impression.
It's pretty good. That's spot on.
I can imagine it.
So this.
I like to just. I'm just thinking of that now.
Glad that makes you happy, Jack.
So yeah, go check out us.
This week, well, not this week. I think last week I went to go watch Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Cool.
I had fun with that. The more I think about it, the more fun I had. It's one of those, like, I'm a big fan of retrospectively thinking about a film. If I come out of a film, I just think it's the best film I've made, and then I have time to sit and go, oh no, I hated that bit. I like that bit, and I think it's a really fun kind of romp set in the 80s-ish nostalgia 80s, where everything's like here or there. Pretty accurate from comparing to other things and stuff. Brie Larson's really funny in it. She nails this kind of weird alien, then kind of down-to-earth character. There's some nice references to like Terminator 2, all the films based in that era. And the de-aging is just, it's like some of the best CG that you don't notice that I've seen. Like, you just believe that Samuel Jackson is that old.
I noticed in the trailer that it looked
You
great.
can't tell. Honestly, like, and he is in a lot of those shots. Can't tell a single thing. You just accept it's like, this is like same time he did Pulp Fiction. And there are loads of lovely little Pulp Fiction things in it, like, but not like in your face, but not even like here's the reference and like they're all lined up. It's just like you think back at it and go, oh, I see what they did. There's a scene where him and Coulson are in the car,
Yeah.
and they're driving, and if you don't think about it, you don't notice it because it's very Men in Blacky. That's what I also liked about it, is they lent more of Shield starting up, so they're still kind of like sort of FBI, sort of not, but there is this whole like aliens, why not? They kind of growing to accept it, but there is a shot where it's sort of framed like the shot when they're in the Cadillac in
Pulp Fiction.
Royale
Royale with cheese.
Yeah, it's kind of shot like that on a side angle, and you don't notice it until I saw like a little side-by-side comparison. Oh, that's kind of cool. Or there's a shot where there's a conversation between the Skrull, which are kind of the main antagonist characters of the film, where he's drinking like a slushy drink, and didn't even register it at all, but it's the same cup color as what Sam Jackson drinks in the infamous scene with the Bible verse.
Say what again?
Yeah, it's that, but it's Sam Jackson's not holding it, which I'm glad. It's not like he's doing the references.
It's
someone
like
else
little
is
sort of
who's
things.
got the
Okay.
character for.
I can accept that.
It's really good fun as well. Like, I was worried it'd be very Green Lantern-y in terms of the Air Force thing, but what it is, it's the Green Lantern thing, but done well. Like, all the Air Force stuff is fun. There's a lot of like Top Gun-y vibes to it. The cat's called Goose. It's kind of cute. There are some fun bits. There are some like dodgy. I know you haven't seen it, and I don't think Jack's seen it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so I won't just explain it to you because people have watched this stuff. There are some bits where you're like, oh, it's a bit tropey in terms of overcoming the power and stuff of like the villain struggle.
Yeah.
But the twists in it, I think, are really well because of how major these characters are in terms of the Skrull in the comics are described as like the villains, and these people are described as the archangel hero-y types, and there's a lot of play they do in this film in between that of like the grey areas and stuff. And Jude Law's character is really fun in it. There's a really fun kind of weird off thing about him. I think it's really well done, and the colours as well. It's not drab, which a lot of early Marvel films kind of lent into because they were going for that realism.
And then like
but
after the first Avengers, it all went colourful.
yeah, after that, like they were going for that Dark Knight. It's real but superheroes. With this one, it's like, here's the colours, because she shoots like these energy beams and stuff from her hands and stuff. So there's lots of bright spectacles and stuff. It's really, I think it's quite nicely done. Everyone has their nice little beats and stuff. Coulson's not a big part in it, which I thought he would be. I thought it would kind of be more of like less Fury and more Coulson, because I really like him as a character and an actor. But it's almost like the roles are reversed, like in the first Avengers, how Coulson was kind of this kind of young.
Did they de-age Coulson?
Yeah, they do, but he's quite young
Yeah.
in it already, like compared to Sam Jackson, how you look at him in the films and stuff, and you look at him in like Pulp Fiction. That's where all the budget went in. But he's only in it for, I reckon, about 10 minutes, Coulson. Right. But you couldn't notice. Maybe if you lined them up side by side. But I think it's a really good film. And all those people complaining, it's like, oh, it's with feminist propaganda. It's not. It's just a great film with a female character who's done really well. She's funny, very kind of humanizing, and then superhero at the same time. She's great, and I'm very excited for the other Marvel films they're pushing with female leads now. Black Widow.
We mentioned that the other week.
They've released who might be the villain in that. Who's a really kind of weird out there villain who's called Taskmaster. Don't know if
I've heard of him.
He's the one.
Oh, he's in the Spider-Man game, isn't he?
He's on Dave.
Yeah, he's on Greg Davis. They've got Greg Davis in. Yeah, he's in one of the Spider-Man games, I think. So he's the villain that's all in white with like a hood. It's got like a skull for a face sometimes. It has a shield, and his like power is he can see someone's fighting style, copy it in a minute, and then fight you against it. That's why he has Captain America's shield and uses that against him. And I think that's a really cool villain. And it's going to be a prequel, and it's going to be set in like a Cold War environment, and that's where I think a lot of their films should go. I'm not a big fan of prequels, but it's an area no one's touched really. And instead of going in space, here's all these things. I like a kind of grounded, kind of like how Ant-Man was, where
like
it's not
small scale.
It's small scale. That's what I think these heroes
or like
are really
one
good
where
for.
it's not like
Not the end of the world.
Yeah, like the reason why I stand by that Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie is because it's like a spy thriller. It's not a superhero movie.
Yeah, and it has those cliches of superheroes, but they're not the important thing.
Yeah,
it's all about discovering things and punching people and like cool like Soviets. It's so good. But this one is a good fun romp. It's nowhere near as good as like the first Iron Man, which I still think is my favorite one because it is just it nails everything. But it is up there in terms of origins. It's much better than Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange was average. Okay.
Yeah, the more I thought about Doctor Strange, the less I liked it. It's much better than that. It's up there where I think they should be making origin story prequel stuff for these. But I think it's really well done.
Do you think they've just done this so she can come and save the day in Endgame?
I think I give a lot of the Russo brothers a lot of credit. I don't think that their writing and how they do so many characters, I don't think that they would stoop to such a level of here's a character who can win everything.
Yeah.
She is powerful in terms of like how it's shown and stuff, but I don't think relatively compared to all the I think it meshes quite well. She's kind of like
works quite well with them.
Like another Thor in that kind of like maybe like a Thor and a Hulk kind of thing. Giving them a lot of credit, they can balance that really well. And I think she's not overpowered at all.
Okay. Captain Marvel, recommend?
I would recommend. I mean, you have to watch them because.
I mean, yeah, I'll watch it before Endgame at some point.
It is worth it. It's not one of those ones where you can skip. Yeah. Well, you can easily skip.
Yeah.
I've heard that you don't need to watch it before Endgame, so I probably won't.
No, she's it only sets it up in terms of this is who the character is.
This is who the character is.
Yeah, all I need to know is that she's basically Superman.
It's not like Black Panther, where like most of the film when it's on Earth is set in where Black Panther's set.
Yeah.
That's like if you went into Infinity War without seeing Black Panther, you might have been a bit confused.
Yeah, you need.
I feel that you can still go in to Infinity War without seeing Black Panther. You just need to know, okay,
you can, but
Wakanda is where Black Panther comes from. There you go. Yeah, that's all you really need to know.
I think it fills in a lot of the gaps, but with this one, they've stated that she's not been on Earth since the end of Captain Marvel. So it is.
I'm surprised it's come out this late because Black Panther came out early February, but this came out like mid-March. So is that giving people enough time to go and see it before mid-April, end of April, when Endgame comes out?
They can put a film out whenever they want. And people will see it.
They
did a press interview where they were talking about maybe they're coming to the point where they don't have to do trailers anymore. Yeah. They could just put a poster and people will see it.
That's what I wanted them to do for Endgame. Just put a poster out and a release date.
No matter if it's bad or good, this is going to be the most profitable film ever made.
I mean,
it is. It's going to break everything. I mean, the top 3 films.
That's what everyone said about Infinity War, and it didn't quite get there.
I know, but that was beaten by something that was completely, in terms of Marvel,
it's still
a different demographic it was targeting, which was good, and it beat it. But I think this one is. I mean, I would hate to be a film that was anywhere like in like 3 weeks of this release.
Yeah, because no one is going to see anything.
So I think a lot of NAF films are going to be pushed out that week. Nothing is going. I'm willing to put money on it. Nothing's going to beat it, and it will be the highest grossing film of the year.
It will definitely of the year of all time.
I think it's going to go straight up there. What is the highest grossing?
Avatar is the highest.
Is it still Avatar?
Titanic is second, and Infinity War is third, I believe.
I think it's going to take the top. It'll hit the top 3.
Fun fact: if you adjust for inflation, Gone with the Wind is the highest with like $3 billion or something.
Oh.
It just like annihilates everything else if you adjust it for inflation.
I'll be amazed if it doesn't knock at least Titanic out a second.
Yeah,
I will genuinely be like confused because this will be. It's going to be a monumental film in terms of the industry. This is like 15, 16 characters sharing 3-hour screen time. Credit to writing that and directing that.
That's some news. Screen time over 3 hours. And also, while we're on the subject of Avengers, James Gunn has been rehired
James
for
Gunn,
Guardians
friend
3,
of the podcast.
which is great.
Which is great. And if you've read any of the interviews or any of the press releases, Disney were never looking for a replacement.
Yeah, they were like, we'll
waiting.
just let him cool off and rehire him. But then he signed for Suicide Squad 2, so they were like, no, we have to wait longer.
Yeah, which is okay. I like the period of time because James Gunn, Guardians 2 takes place about 20 minutes after 1.
Yeah.
I like the idea that we're going to have some time. Maybe have new characters
Guardians
in it because the Guardians get swapped out. They're like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They get swapped out quite a lot. And I think it'd be quite interesting to him start again with some new people and maybe a new kind of feel to it.
Maybe.
Or maybe keep like Chris Pratt so you could have the 80s, the songs and stuff, but some new or added characters.
It'll be set before Infinity War, I think.
After Endgame, it's going to be really interesting where the rest of like Marvel films go, because I don't know whether they're going to like start building up another like massive event with the I can't remember what they're called.
They're called the Celestials.
Yep, that's the one. So I don't know whether they're gonna start building something up with that, because I feel like they need to have another thing that they start building up to, because I don't know, I feel like it works so well with this that they need to do something similar. And maybe they could do like another Civil War when they actually have the X-Men in it, and it's like an actual civil war as opposed to like 6 people fighting against another 6 people.
Well, the good news is because they've the acquisition has gone in, I think, last 2 weeks. They've bought all the properties they want off Fox, including all of Fox, and cancelled every other X-Men thing.
Which means we're going to get a Marvel Cinematic Universe X-Men at some point.
We're going to actually get Wolverine in the costume.
Hopefully they don't do what they did with Spider-Man, which is, with Spider-Man, they just went, as soon as they got the rights, they were like, right, boom, Spider-Man movie. I hope they wait and let like the almost kind of the memory of the other X-Men movies fade a bit. Yeah. Like wait 3 or 4 years and then do an X-Men and do it really well.
What we're going to get is, after Endgame, another gap like they do at the moment where there's... I mean, they're going to have films, but I mean, time-wise, there'll be a gap where they don't set any films here so they can fill that in later, which they're doing. And there'll be like mutants are starting to appear because of Endgame. Something's happened.
Yeah. Maybe if you come back from the snap, it gives you like a mutant gene. Well, but not everyone. It's like a chance.
There's so do you remember the
That'd be
one
really
that was set
cool.
on the Marvel New Mutant? No, Inhumans, which was apparently the worst thing ever made. There's a thing in the comics where you can randomly become an Inhuman, like you just a chrysalis forms around you and you come back with powers. I think they're going to do that, but with X-Men, because everyone's forgotten the Inhumans exist. Yeah. I think that's where we're going to go after Endgame. I think Endgame is going to end with a Galactus-esque huge villain, which I think would be really cool, because now they own it. Just do the big, dumb, giant alien who eats planets.
But Endgame's already finished. Yeah,
but like a credit scene. Like the shawarma scene in the first Avengers wasn't filmed until 2 weeks after it was released.
2 weeks after it was released?
Yeah, after it was done in the Chinatown screening.
Oh, right.
They went back and filmed it. That's why a lot of the characters are hiding half their faces, because they've got prosthetics for their other films on.
So yeah, Captain Marvel, that's a recommend.
Captain Marvel and Avenger stuff.
One thing I've been watching a bit of is Love, Death and Robots on Netflix, like an anthology animation series. Every episode is a different animation style, all about love, death and robots. Really good, recommend that. I don't want to say too much about it, but go watch it. But yeah, that's
David Fincher's a part of it.
Yeah, David
fantastic.
Fincher. He's an exec producer, so he's got nothing to do with it, basically.
Yeah, but if he's involved in it, he must tweak something.
It pluses his name all over it, so I assumed it was something.
It's like, David Fincher did this,
like
and I was like, oh, cool. So I went to like look if he wrote or directed. No, he just put money in it.
That's fair enough. I mean, if he's putting money in it, he must trust it.
Yeah, he trusts it, but it is very good, though. So recommend. And I think that's about it for this week.
Well, that's weird.
Oh, that's weird.
I like that.
I like that. Anyway, that was Bargain Bin episode 9.
9. I think.
I've been Nick.
I've been Adam.
And I've been Jack.
Okay, thank you for watching, listening.
Listening. Radio.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you next week for the double digits episode.
Yay,
10.
big 10 birthday party. Woo! Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.